stand is. So we're on 102 with Christmas Addicts. Does that look right?
Yeah.
It's been a long weekend because I've been cooking and planning for our Friendsgiving on Friday. So can we start with Aiden? Can you read 14 and 15 for us? And we read part of this, but we were cut short. So let's just start over. It's a clean start.
Later, Amelia was fast asleep when her eyes jolted awake. An earthquake? An earthquake was Samuel
Yeah.
shaking her vigorously.
Yeah.
Amelia, get up. Paul's gone. I think he's run off. Samuel whispered urgently.
Yeah, and I mean, these are just brothers and sisters, like, waking each other up. But, like, they really know that something is seriously up, you know? It's not just all fun and games like a brother or sister trying to wake you up, you know, in a really horrible way. Like, we need you up right now, like something is up. Yes, sir?
Less than 5 minutes, next.
Sure. Callie, could you read 16 and 17, please?
Are you sure? Would he go and do a stupid thing like that for? She wondered. Samuel shrugged. All I know is before bed he said he was concerned about Papa and Mr.
Addicts.
But I never thought he'd do a crazy thing like this. We have to tell Mama.
Yeah, because one thing we have to understand is the Revolutionary War did not just start the day after we sent our Declaration of Independence. That was just a formal letter, yeah, signed by our representatives that was officially, nicely, in the best way possible, picking a fight.
Saying, screw you, England.
We don't say stuff like that. So it was a kind way of picking a fight. Yeah. It was 5, 6, 7 years of these little skirmishes, these problems going on, like the Boston Massacre. Then 3 years later, the Boston Tea Party. 3 years after that is when we can say, yeah, officially Revolutionary War. But we have been having a problem for so long. It wasn't just, okay, we've had it. We don't want to be British anymore. Boom, done on July 5th. You're ours. It wasn't that. It was a long time of problems. And this is a big one here. All right, let's see about paragraph 18, please. Oh, that's a pretty good one, Marshall.
Amelia quickly climbed out of bed. They tiptoed into their parents' room. And Amelia shook her mother gently, saying, Santa says Paul's run off, and we think he went into town to help Papa.
Yeah, really bad stuff. Tay, paragraph, oh, I took my glasses off, girl. 19?
19. What? Susan says, sitting up and rubbing sleep.
Yeah.
Sitting up and rubbing sleep from her eyes. Paul's run off to help Papa. She paused a moment and then said, we must go after him. Put on your coats and shoes, quickly!
Yeah, because we know how dangerous any of these situations can become. Like, this isn't just going to be a whole bunch of guys standing in the street yelling at each other. Like, this is getting bad, bad, bad. Yes, sir.
If this actually happened.
This did.
If my dad, no, like, with him, in my
in your family, yes,
like,
sir.
If my dad was gone and my brother went to help him, that would be so relatable at this point. My sister, I would wake up my younger sister, probably my older sister too.
Right.
And we would go to our mother's room and tell our mother.
Yeah.
I don't know if she'd bring us with her. Probably not.
I would have dropped you off at my mom's house and then gone. You know, I would have taken my 2 older boys with me. Right?
Actually, I would have just ran off.
Because I need that muscle. I would have left the littles at my mom's and we would have been gone. We would have taken off. Downtown, let's go. That's exactly how I would have rolled. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is very relatable. And it's exactly what's going to happen. But you need to, in these situations, have a martyr, have a hero, someone who's willing to give their life for a really good cause. And that's our Crispus. Yeah? Yes, sir.
May I
drama. I think it's been fun.
All right, Daniel, speaking of you, how about what, oh Lord, was it 20?
Pyramid High.
Susanna, Amelia, and Samuel set out into the night, racing like frightened rabbits toward the town. As they approached the light of the town square, they heard gunshots.
When 21 and 22, please, Ara.
What was that? Amelia cried. Sounded like a musket firing, Susanna replied. So stay close to me. We must be careful.
Yes, 23, John.
Standing at the edge of the town square, they were stunned by what they saw. Nearest to them was the British customs house, where a number of angry-looking recruits were assembled, with guns drawn. Opposite them, a large group of American sailors, shouting at them, swinging sticks, clubs, and anything else they could get their hands on.
Yeah, and our guys are right down there with them. Charlie, 24.
This is exactly what Thomas was worried about. It's a circus down here. So many angry people. There's going to be a massacre,
Right.
Susanna shouted.
Because you've got the muskets versus just whatever we can grab a
Sticks.
hold of. Doesn't look good for the colonists or what will eventually become the Americans. Yeah. Rahel, could you finish us out with 25 and 26 for now?
Suddenly, Samuel spied a face in the crowd of sailors. Look, there's Mr. Addicks. Samuel recognized him at once because Crispus Addicks was so tall, well over 6 feet. He was the only black sailor in the crowd. He was a formidable figure. He's standing in the front. He looked like he could take on all the redcoats all by himself, Samuel explained.
Formidable is such a really good word, and it is in bold print here. But not only are anything, if it's a person, it could be a problem. It could doesn't have to be a problem. It could just be a good idea too. Anything that is large, that's impressive, and honestly deserves our respect. Yeah. So if I have a formidable problem, it's big. I'm a little worried because, you know, it's not like, oh, I'm making it up. It's a problem. It's like, dude, this is a real problem.
They're
Yeah.
armed with muskets and claws.
Exactly.
Like, that's scary.
But listen, you can also have a formidable good thing. You can have a formidable idea. Like, oh man, that is awesome. Like, this could be your shining moment. Like, let's make your idea happen.
Yeah.
But talking about a person, you already have the only black man standing there in the crowd. We can't quite say African American yet because he wasn't born on this soil. Right? He is a slave. And he's standing there. He's already, like, literally large. He's over 6 feet tall. He is strong, and he is showing no signs of fear. That's formidable. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's work it for some similes and metaphors. Go back to 102 and A. Now, I'm going to start us off difficult. Remember, we're going to look for, and when it's a metaphor, we're going to look for a comparison that does not use like or as. But please go to, it says in paragraphs 14 and 24. So there's one in paragraph 14, one in paragraph 24. I'm looking at those. Thankfully, they're the short ones. And please circle a metaphor. There's one comparing somebody to something in 14, and one comparing the situation to something in 24. There's no like, there's no as. Yes, ma'am.
I put, do you want me to read what I put?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It's just he said Al right when you said that. Are you okay? Oh, okay. Never mind. It's fine. What'd you get for 14?
Amelia was fast asleep when she jolted awake by an earthquake.
Okay. That's not the metaphor. Who is the earthquake?
Samuel.
The earthquake was Samuel. There's your metaphor. Yeah? Restate that into a simile. Samuel was like an earthquake. Yeah? Okay, what about 24? Paragraph 24. What's our metaphor there, Maya?
It's a circus town.
Yeah, I would probably, because I like the word like, but I'm a child of the 80s, you know, and so probably for some of your parents, I do realize I'm getting to the point where I'm older than most parents, but we kind of grew up with the Valley Girl talk, so we love saying like, you know what I mean? Like, do you get it? So I would have probably said it's like a circus down here. I would make anything a simile, only because I'm a child of the 80s. All right, then taking a look at B, let's do the easy one. Go to 20, find a simile. All right,
I found racing like frightened rabbits.
absolutely, which I get. I love this. This is why it's called figurative language, because you could tell me they ran there. Okay, it's pretty cut and dry. But when you tell me someone raced like frightened rabbits to get somewhere, I see it better in my head. Yeah, it's a better visual. I get more figures in my head doing exactly what they did when you give me details like that. So it really does make for better writing. One of the fun things that we could do is take a super boring paragraph and add some stuff to it, add some good figurative language to it to really make it kind of pop. Because I heard you guys with your crazy turkey stories today, so that is really something that you could do. Y'all's crazy turkey stories, and y'all had some good points. Like Ada made a good point. What did she say? Like it didn't have to be normal or something. And
It could be like made up.
Like it's not normal if it talks. I don't know what you said, but I almost fell on the floor laughing in the other classroom. That was pretty good.
Hey, it's
Ah,
not
pretty
normal if it talks.
That was good.
I said I wanted to
We
eat it.
could be a normal turkey that talks.
He's like, what's normal about that? I don't
Yeah.
know what you said, but I was about to die. All right, now we can go to 103. Could you take a look at 1 and 2? We're not going to give them a minute to answer, please. What does Samuel's description of Crispus Attucks, specifically in paragraph 26, suggest? Read through all your choices. Number 2, why is circus a good description of what is happening in the square? I'll give y'all a minute. Make sure you read through everything, though, okay? I have a 7th and 8th grade that's getting to the point with multiple choices, so not reading through everything. So that does mean that for the bulk of my answers right now are going to be either C or D until they get the hang of it. And it's not just the easy C or D. It's, you know how you get to a D and it says all of the above? Gotcha.
It's always
Because what are they going to do? They're going to read A and A is right. Because D tells you all of the above are right. I'm getting them. Slowly but surely, they're starting to, like, read through all of your choices. I like giving you a D that says all of the above, and I like giving you a C that says the correct answer is always A and something else. Because when you go to do multiple choice too quickly, if you read A and you think A is right, you just circle it and move on. You got to wait for those gotcha moments, okay? And I'm trying to get them right now. But only through daily assignments, but they get mad at them. Well, they get mad at me too, but they get mad at themselves. Charlie, what'd you get for 1?
C.
C, this is for Samuel's description of Crispus Attucks in paragraph 26 with my, I think the best word for him, in my opinion, formidable. Attucks is taking on a strong leadership role among the sailors, and it's exactly what happens in history. What about number 2 with why is circus chance a really good description here?
D. The situation is loud, confusing, and chaotic, like a circus.
Yeah, but it's not a fun circus. This is a scary circus. Which
This is
some,
the terror circus that's
Yeah.
gonna chop off your toes.
Thank
Throw them in a soup.
it's scary. Yes, sir.
Terror circus.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Was circus like a thing during the Boston Massacre?
Oh, man. Good question. They had traveling shows, but an official circus? No. No. Puppets, quick theater,
Shakespeare.
animals that could do something, but no real circus.
Hamilton.
It would have been, I think, P.T. Barnum, 1800s. Most of us have seen The Greatest Showman.
Harry Houdini?
Go 20 years, 30 years before P.T. Barnum really kind of says, I can do a better job at this with traveling circuses that were kind of trash, you know? But no, not right now. There was some traveling entertainment, but you would have had actors or a lot of puppeteering. Actually, a lot of puppeteering. Yeah. All right, can we take a look at 100? Oh, no. I turned too many pages. 104. I was like, wait a minute. 106. You don't know what happens to Crispus. Yeah, Chloe.
Can I use that thing?
You can. Everybody is back, and Lathan. We're on 104. And let's see what happens to our guy. 27 and 28, please, because 27 is so itty-bitty.
Before Susanna could respond, she was startled by a deep voice behind her. What are you doing here? It was a voice of
Judge Pauling.
Judge Pauling, the city's chief
Magistrate. Yeah, remember in Ireland with Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a magistrate there, so it's a local official.
There's an angry group of Jack Tars there. Here. Oh yeah. Judge Pauling explained, pointing over his shoulder at the sailors, and the situation is becoming worse by the minute.
And Jack Tars was kind of a slang term, nickname, I think is better for me to say, for a bunch of sailors during that time. Jack Tars. Jack would have just been such a common name, and tar is what you kind of did for a living because your ships would have been made of wood,
Yeah.
and tarring them was really important for keeping the ships ready for water. It was the way to waterproof wood.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, because you're in Boston, which is a major harbor, major shipping industry, almost all of our goods coming either in through Boston or Charleston, South Carolina, the harbor down there. Tar is going to be everywhere. So another way of torturing someone that everyone always thinks is funny when they see it in a history book or social studies book is tarring and feathering. But let me tell you, if you have ever accidentally used a hot glue, not accidentally used a hot glue gun, but used a hot glue gun and accidentally got some of the hot glue on yourself, and I want you to think high temp hot glue gun, and now I want you to think even hotter than that. I want to imagine having that poured on you, and then someone putting a bunch of feathers on you.
I mean, that's just the
Basically like sticky lava.
It is.
It's like a sticky sun.
Was it possible? Because a lot of tarring and feathering is going to go on in the week after this thing happens. When our story ends, it's going to be bad in Boston. But I mean, it would hurt. Could you survive tarring and feathering? Yeah. No, you could.
You could?
You could, depending on the heat level of the tar. So what's going to happen is you're basically going to have to grow a pretty good new layer of skin because it depends on did it give you a 2nd degree burn, which is survivable, but 3rd degree burn you basically have cooked yourself.
Yeah.
So typically you would die from your wounds later on because you don't have that simple thing that everyone has somewhere in their house even if you forgot where you put it last. Antibiotic ointment.
Yep.
That does not exist. So tarring and feathering looks so funny because it looks like a chicken person, running around in your history book in a picture. But ow! Like if you can think about hitting yourself a little bit with drippy drops of hot glue gun, you've done it. You know it hurts.
Yes, it does.
It hurts so bad. All right, so let's see what we have. 29, please. Lily Grace.
Suddenly, he lit up like a lantern. Wait, I know who you are, he exclaimed. You are Thomas Field's wife, the judge snarled. Your husband has made a great mistake. He's joined the other rebel rosers and threatening the British soldiers. And for that...
Yeah, so this means we, of course, were all British. This judge who's snarling, by the way, at you, like I almost want to hear, like a little growl. He's upset that you're not a Tory anymore. Like, what is your husband thinking? You can't support these crazy colonists. Yes, sir.
What does snarling mean?
Snarling, it's kind of like a growl, but before it gets kind of deep and guttural, it's kind of like a,
Wow.
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's scary. And it would be, it's cute when a puppy does it to you. Yeah, but it would be scary if an old guy did it to you. Is what we're saying. Yeah. Puppies growling, snarling.
Imagine that in your head, it's creepy.
For real.
That's not creepy, that's funny.
Maya, could you read 30 and 31, please? Because this girl was about to get told, so let's see what this wife is like.
That's enough calling, the judge whirled around to see Thomas standing before him with Paul. Don't you dare be threatening my family, Thomas warned. Paul, Susanna exclaimed. You could have been hurt. Don't ever run off like that again.
Thank you. All right, how about 32 and 33, Skylar?
Your mother is right. Thomas agreed. Thank you for your
Concern.
concern, Judge Pauling, but I can take it from here. Judge Pauling
Glared, like
Glared.
stared at you.
at Thomas and hurried off. Let's get out of here quickly, Thomas said.
Thank you. What about 34 and 35, Chance?
Paul pleaded, but Papa, I'm worried about the men, especially Mr. Otux. He could be hurt, even killed. He'll be fine, Paul. Otux is a good, brave man. He'll look after the others. Now let's get him before this incident snowballs out of control.
Absolutely. Yeah. What about 36 and 37, please, James?
The next morning, there was a knock on the door. When Susanna opened, she was met with the sight of a grin-faced Judge Paul. My apologies for bothering you so early, but I must report that the events last night took a violent turn. 5 of your colleagues, Mr. Field, lost their lives. Judge
Intoned means you just try and be calm and speak in an even voice. Your colleagues, however, are your co-workers. Hey, Aiden, how about 38 and 39 and finish that page off for us on 104?
Under Thomas cried, Paul rose, asking, who are you talking about, Mr. Tubbs?
Okay. Callie, 40. Let's see what had happened.
Just Pauling blurted angrily. Mr. Attuck's Attucks was the leader. He was the first to charge the redcoats and the first to be shot and killed. And with that, Pauling exited sharply.
Yeah, so this is the first person to be shot and killed officially now for the American Revolutionary War is Crispus Attucks. Marshall, could you finish out the story for us, please?
The family was silent for a long moment. Thomas shaking his head in disbelief and grief. Samuel said quietly, I'm so sorry about Mr. Attucks. It's terrible indeed, Thomas said sadly. Attucks was a valiant man and a true patriot. But I promise you, he has not died in vain. The redcoats must leave Boston, even if there must be a revolution to do.
Absolutely, yeah. First person to die. Could you take a minute and do 1 and 2? Make sure you read through all of your answers. Yes, sir.
I like how paragraph 35, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be fine, get shot.
Well, they did qualify it by saying that since he was such a good leader, they felt that more people would be safer. Like without Crispus there, who knows, maybe 10, 15, 20 people would have died, right? But to be the first to step up and die.
He just died.
Right. Oh no, first shot by the British soldiers. It's gonna be one of our first presidents that is actually going to be the lawyer in this case. This does go to trial. And one of our presidents actually, he regrets it later, but he takes on the British case. He will be the lawyer for the British soldiers who killed Crispus Attucks. Yeah, John Adams. It's John Adams. He was a brilliant lawyer. Sir?
Oh, man, I tried to see if Beth was right.
Sure.
When I was in there.
That's fine. I didn't know. Charlie?
Didn't they attack the British by throwing snowballs at them?
That's something, yeah, that has also happened before, yeah. For number 1, how do we learn about the fate of Crispus Attucks in the story? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. C. Pauling reports to the field that Attucks was shot and killed. And number 2, how do Pauling and the fields differ in their view of Attucks? Yes, sir.
A.
Pauling admires Attucks. The fields enjoy Attucks' company. No, not A. What else? B.
B.
Yes. Pauling sees Attucks as an enemy. There we go. And the fields see him as a hero. You know, the thing is that Crispus Attucks is the first to die in the Revolutionary War because colonists wanted to be free of King George III of Great Britain. We didn't want to be British anymore. We felt that we were being taken advantage of. The irony here, irony is whenever you can say, gosh, isn't it funny that this happened? That it took a slave to be the one to stand up and say, I want to fight because one day this America is going to be good. Yeah, he was a slave. He was a slave, but he was fighting for American freedom from Britain. And then eventually freedom, hopefully for everyone. It's like he knew that there was this ideal about America. He really believed in it. Even though Crispus Attucks was a slave, he's still the first person to die in the American Revolutionary War. You know, for our freedom from England at the time. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought your hand was up. I don't know. I just love him. I think he's really great. But the best part about it is that the first person to die in the American Revolution was a slave, because you wouldn't think that without his freedom, why would he care? You know? But he's like, no, I really feel that Crispus just had this idea that America's going to be awesome, and it's going to take people like us standing up for it. You know, and we'll work on everything else later. I don't know, it just seems such a positive role model. You know, such a great guy. Yes, sir.
Here's the thing we don't understand about people in the 1800s. They were too lazy to do their work. So they went to Africa, kidnapped people,
It was kidnapping.
took them to their land. Number 1, hung them up in chains, threw them on their ship, took them to their land, and made them work 24/7 every day of their life until they died.
Yeah.
And they would auction them. They would auction slaves. I cannot get that through my peanut-sized brain.
Well, what you have to understand, though, is that you specified the 1800s. It has only been within just a few generations, if you really think of it, a few generations of mankind where we have no slavery in a very long history of man. Because there's going to be slavery in the Bible. There's going to be slavery in the Old Testament of the Bible, which is going to be happening before the birth of Christ almost 21 years ago. So that we are only, if you really think about it, a few generations away from ending slavery in the world. It's mind-boggling that you could have allowed it to happen for thousands and thousands of years. Yeah. So it's a new age. Got to learn how to work it. Yeah. Got to learn how to kind of love each other, get along. But this has not been the normal for most of the history of us. Yeah. Yes, sir.